Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. My name is Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and we are here after a Browns win, looking forward to the Week 4 matchup against the Detroit Lions, a team that's coming off one day less of rest. But before we talk anything about that matchup, Zay, how has the victory full week really been for you? I know we talked on Monday, but we've had a couple days to ruminate on Andre Smith's game-winning kick. Happy birthday to Andre Smith as well on Friday. If you are watching, Andre, but anybody watching on Friday, how's the week been, Zay?
Week's been good. The chatter's been low. I haven't had any argument. It's weird because there hasn't been much content other than the week of and just leading it. Like there's nothing. It feels like it's kind of dead right now, almost essentially, like the calm before the storm that's about to happen. But week's been good when you don't have to worry about the whole 0-3 chatter. But nonetheless, we're on to week 4. How are you feeling, my guy?
I'm good. I'm excited for week 4. We got 9 a.m. to almost midnight football on Sunday. We have our lovely friends in the Pittsburgh Steelers playing overseas against the Minnesota Vikings, I believe 9:30 a.m. And then we got a full 1 o'clock slate, a solid 4 o'clock slate as well. The Kansas City Chiefs or Baltimore Ravens, one of them is going to be 1-3, which is nuts to think. And then we should have a good trouncing of the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. But I'm excited for the week, more excited for this Browns game, though. It's weird you mentioned that there's been like nothing this week in terms of Brown stuff, other than the injury reports, and there even wasn't much information or crazy things then. This was like the summer months, these last 72 hours. There's literally nothing going on, and it's a good thing, I think.
It's a good thing, but it's also like I need something. I feel like we had all this excitement built up, and maybe we were spoiled getting that little victory because we were all prepared for, a dreadful week. Maybe this is that little mini bye week for Browns fans that our mental needs desperately.
Yeah, the emotional bye week. That's always good. The only thing that I really can think of that happened was the Shedeur Sanders stuff, the comments
Yep.
about like seeing things on the field. Did you make anything of that? Because I didn't. I tried not to read too deeply into it.
I didn't want to read too deeply into it. I do find it a little. It's a little, I don't want to say out of his character, but knowing how he knows the moment, knowing how he understands the situation that he's in, it was a little, it was something because it's like he hasn't fed into any of that. Now, I didn't actually hear what the question was. I saw a comment, someone say that he deviated from the question in a very, very good response. But in terms of the answer that we still got, it is a little weird. Not, I don't want to say weird, but it is something that he would be willing to say that because is that his way of maybe trying to put his name out there? Like, what did you make of it?
I thought. Well, I'll be real. Like I thought it was. It's tough drawing a line from confidence and cockiness
Mm-hmm.
with especially a guy like Shedeur Sanders, but with NFL quarterbacks. Like I honestly did think it was a little cocky. I did. And I think when you look at the Browns quarterback situation, they've done a really good job of making it very, very clear. And I saw somebody tweet this. I can't remember who it was. Somebody tweeted this, and I couldn't agree more. The fact that the Browns have made it so clear that Dylan Gabriel is their number 2 guy has almost mitigated the effects of any team drama, any discussions within the media on a statement like that or comments like that, especially in the world we live in now, because we'll talk about this later. If Joe Flacco doesn't play well, there's going to be a discussion on which quarterback should start next week against Minnesota. I think we both agree starting a quarterback, at home, even though it's not really a home game, in a different country against Brian Flores, one of the most confusing defensive coordinators in the league, probably not a good idea, but there's going to
And
be
he'll be there
discussions
two
of Joe
weeks in a
Flacco.
row, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, they're already accustomed to it. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. We talked to Shelby Harris about that. He didn't really make a big deal out of it, which is good, but I hate it. The discussion around the backup quarterback, the fact that it's so muted and it's so almost it's decided, like the backup, Dylan Gabriel's the backup quarterback, is making these comments way less important than they are. If there was a legit battle, like let's say Dylan Gabriel didn't play well in the preseason, and Shedeur's only preseason action was the game against Carolina, and there was a legit discussion about who the backup was, this would be a huge deal. I think it'd be a huge deal if he said that.
That's why that's why I didn't know how to really put the words that I was looking for of what this was because we know no matter what Shedeur says, no matter what he can do behind the scenes, like we're not seeing Shedeur until Dylan Gabriel is pretty much at the bridge. You know what I mean? Like, Stefanski's going to do everything that he can. We're going to go through 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks where we're
Yeah.
looking at Dylan Gabriel and it's like, man, this guy just clearly don't have it. Well, we'll know for sure if he has it or not, because they're going to do everything in their power to make sure Dylan Gabriel gets that fair shot, because they've already shown us that all throughout off season.
I completely agree. And we talked about it last week. Dylan Gabriel kind of being the final straw that breaks the camel's back with Stefanski. Like, that's what he's holding on to. I hate to keep comparing it to my Giants, but same thing with Brian Dable and Jackson Dart. Like, Dart's the guy he's holding on to. Those are the two coaches that are on the hottest, quote unquote, seats in the league. And it's their guys at quarterback that you kind of need to see pan out to save your job. I do want to ask you this, though. I've had this debate with multiple people in my personal life, my friends, like literally everybody has asked me, like, do you think you see Shedeur Sanders this year? And I'm like, well, probably not. But then my mind immediately goes to, who's the third quarterback we are going to see if we see one? Do you think there's a world we see Deshaun Watson before Shedeur Sanders in 2025? I do. I actually think there's a world we see Deshaun Watson before Dylan Gabriel in 2025.
No, see, now you're going too far. I think the only way that would happen is if Joe Flacco strings off a few wins here and has us in that playoff contention, and then we hit a certain point where it's like, okay, it's time to turn it over after the playoffs are being, like, you get eliminated from the playoffs. That would be the only scenario that I could maybe see. But even if so, you still have to see Dylan Gabriel, because let's just play the more realistic approach where we are playing that 3-4 win territory, and it's, let's just say, what, 2 and what would you say, 2-10, 2-8
For the record for what? Like,
for that quarterback to switch.
Ooh, I think it's sooner if that's the record. If the Browns are like the bye week, they'll play 8 games. If the Browns are, let's say, 2-6 at the bye, I think post bye the change could come for sure.
So the real question would be, is Deshaun Watson 100% healthy by that time?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which more than likely he wouldn't be. But let's just say if he was, I still think you would have to see what Dylan Gabriel has to offer, because if you're 2-6 at that point, chances are you're probably winning 1, maybe 2 more games after that. Is Kevin Stefanski, is he putting his job on the line for Deshaun Watson, or is he putting on his job on the line for Dylan Gabriel? And I think that's what it's going to boil down to. And I think we all know how much Dylan Gabriel loves it, or how much Dylan Gabriel's loved upon that coaching room.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I honestly didn't really view it like that. Like, Stefanski is kind of laying his job on the line this year. That's right. And the last straw that breaks the camel's back is Dylan Gabriel. He's going to lean to Dylan Gabriel before he leans to Deshaun Watson, who, again, has not done him right. Obviously, Stefanski's been at fault as well, but who hasn't been the guy. But let's say Dylan Gabriel has shown you enough and you love him as your guy next year, but in week 18, you want to get somebody else some action. Do you think it's Deshaun Watson, or do you think it's Shedeur Sanders?
Nah, it's gonna be Shedeur. Like, there'd be the problem with playing Deshaun Watson towards the end of the year is, let's just say he does look good for those first 2 games. Let's just say he looks good for that one sample size. He throws for 300 yards. He has 3 touchdowns. That entire offseason is now you dictating whether or not you're going to gear yourself towards Deshaun Watson, or are you going to gear yourself towards one of the rookies that you're going to be drafting. Whereas if you go into the offseason with Deshaun Watson, with Shedeur, Dylan, and whatever rookie that you have, you can actually have yourself a competition, and you can give yourself that, I guess, the scale of, okay, well, do we want to stroll Deshaun Watson out there? You'll see a lot of Deshaun through the preseason next year, which will give you a sample size essentially, but I don't think you do yourself any service letting Deshaun go out there and play for a week or 2 this year when you have 2 rookies that have a bigger ceiling, I guess, right? I guess you could say that's not fair to say, but has a good, I don't even know how to put that. How would you put that? You know where I'm trying to go with that?
Yeah, I think the ceiling in the Stefanski offense is as far as Stefanski can take them with Dylan Gabriel, because he's quote game manager who fits the offense very, very well, 100%. You made a really interesting point. We're going to take a break and get to it in a second here about a potential rookie next year. I want to talk about that up next on Honor Land on Big Play Sports Network.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Who doesn't love having everything at their fingertips? With Pure AV's smart home automation, you can seamlessly manage your home's audio, video, lighting, security, and more, all with a simple touch. Create a sanctuary that embodies your unique style and personalized features that bring comfort to every moment. Sit back, relax, and let Pure AV bring convenience and control to your home. Visit us at pureavcorp.com today.
Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. Zay, you just brought up a really interesting point. We're going to talk quarterback for a little bit longer here about the Browns potentially having another rookie quarterback next season. I don't want to put you on the spot with which rookie quarterback it is, but let's say the Browns draft a quarterback in 2026, right? I think it's a reality, whether it's a first-round pick or it's a day 2 pick, day 3 pick, maybe even. What do you think the quarterback room looks like? Let's say July, when we had these crazy discussions last July about Kenny Pickett, Flacco, and the 2 rookies. Do you think they subject themselves to the 4 quarterback battle again?
I don't know if they want to do that, but it's so hard trying to look into the future with the Browns right now because I'm in the camp where I don't know if Stefanski can make it to another year next year. And if he doesn't make it into another season next year, I don't think Dillon Gabriel is probably part of this quarterback room. I don't
wow,
know.
Really?
I don't know necessarily.
Wait, you
Shedeur.
Do you think that any coach, regardless who the coach is, let's say a new coach comes in, do you think they would move off a rookie quarter or a second-year quarterback that quickly?
To be the starter. I don't think they're going to be like, okay, Dillon Gabriel is going to be our guy. They're going to draft a guy. More than likely, he's going to be the starter. It's going to be, can Dillon Gabriel be serviceable enough to be my backup quarterback? Okay. And when it comes with quarterback changes and stuff like that, we know, does that quarterback fit the mold of what the system is that you want? I think if you bring a whole new quarterback in, it all kind of rides on, does he fit the system? And I think the coach that you would ultimately bring in would probably have to make it work since you spent a 3rd-round pick on Dillon Gabriel. You're not just going to throw him away. But what I'm saying in terms of the offense and stuff like that, if it is Kevin Stefanski, yeah, you could see 4 quarterbacks. I think you do probably see – you might not see Shedeur, honestly.
I agree.
That would probably be the odd man out.
I think so, too. And it's not a thing of talent with Shedeur. It's not even a thing of like his personality or the confidence / cockiness in the media. It's none of that. It's just like you said, he'd be the odd man out, where he, as well as the people in his camp, believe and want him to be a starter or even a quality backup somewhere. That is probably not the case. It's definitely not the case in Cleveland this year. We can tell you that much. But it's probably not going to be the case next year. I don't know what can dramatically change unless it's, hey, Dillon and Shedeur, we love you guys. Go battle it out for the 1 and 2 spot, and we'll have another rookie coming behind you, which is, a very, very ballsy move, if you will. But at the same time, you look at what the Browns quarterback room looks like now, the potential of Deshaun Watson being on the roster next year as well. Like you said, he's the odd man out, and I think there's a world I don't want.
I want to make that very clear. Like, he put it on himself as to why he would be the odd man out. It's not me saying
Agreed.
that I don't want Shedeur on the team. When that report came out that he didn't want to go to Baltimore and who was it? Baltimore and the Eagles, I believe, were the 2 teams.
The Eagles were preparing to take him. I don't know if he said that he didn't want to go to Philly, but Baltimore was the big one. I know there were 3 teams involved in that thing where he didn't want to go. Oh, the Browns were the other one, but yeah.
If he already said that he didn't want to sit behind someone, we already know the pressure's on. He's going to either, I don't want to say demand his shot here, or if he doesn't get his shot here, we're going to see a 5th-round Corey Coleman clip where it's like, man, just go ahead and get me on the market and let me go somewhere where I can try to play. That's why I said what I said on that part.
I agree. I think he's he's put himself in this situation. Like, I think he would honestly be the first person to hold himself accountable with it too. But he is, put himself in a situation where it makes a lot of sense for the Browns with the things that he said, or himself with what he believes, to request a trade. I don't know how real that is. I don't know if that happens anytime soon. It probably does not happen this season. It'd be a next season thing. But yeah, you're right. 100%. He's put himself in that situation. Let's backtrack a little bit and look at this year to finish up, though. Obviously, the Browns have a big game against the Lions. We talked about the potential of starting Dylan Gabriel week 6 if this continues with Flacco. We don't really talk about the positives. Maybe that's just Cleveland and what we do. But do you think if the Browns win this Sunday, if Joe Flacco plays well and he's going to get his opportunities, we talk about the matchup breakdown, he's going to get plenty of one-on-one opportunities to throw that football. Do you think if he plays well and the Browns win, this discussion is pushed off, let's say post-bye, after another month of Flacco because of how good you can be? Do you think this discussion of benching him for Dylan Gabriel is pushed back?
I mean, I think it's a week-to-week thing, honestly. This is one of those, really every single week you're going to have to evaluate what you want at the quarterback position. Like, I mean, we go back to, who was the quarterback recently? He just had Russell Wilson. Threw for 450 yards one week, and the next week he's benched. You know what I mean? It's exactly like that situation. So Joe Flacco could come out here, he could win. He could throw for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, and we can go out here and win. But if he comes out the week after that versus Minnesota and he throws for $190 with 2 turnovers and no touchdowns, you're going to feel that pressure again, and you're going to want to go to the rookie. So I think Joe Flacco's going to have to live in the moment every single week until he's not the quarterback anymore, because number one, the fan base isn't going to allow it. And number two, I don't think Kevin Stefanski is going to let this thing go so far down to where his seat gets to that point where it's ultimately boiling. The seat can be hot, but he doesn't want it boiling.
Well, let's make it clear the seat is hot. That's for sure.
The seat is hot.
Pat just raised a great question, and I don't know if he's poking fun at me because I love the Giants too, but if the Browns traded up in the first round and got Jackson Dart, or even like any of these quarterbacks, but traded up in the first round, do you think this would be a different discussion where you feel more pressure to put your first round quarterback in instead of a third round guy in Dylan Gabriel? I think it would be.
I think we're also forgetting the whole Kenny Pickett situation. That threw such a wrench into this whole thing. You know what I mean? We'd probably be watching Kenny Pickett right now. Like, it was clear that they wanted Kenny Pickett to be the guy. So it would be more of a conversation, but I don't know if the quarterback play would be this bad 3 weeks into this point. But if we did trade up for Jackson Dart, obviously the pressure would be there. The time would be, I think the pressure on the coach would be there a lot more, because number one, you had to use resources to trade back into the first round, and you're going to try to keep this thing about, like, if you're trading up Jackson Dart, you think this guy has an opportunity to be your franchise quarterback, and knowing that your defense is playing at a top elite level, top 2 in the league right now, you don't want to waste that. You're hoping that Jackson Dart can show you why you traded the capital to move into that first round. So I think the situation would be a lot different, but all of this is the whole thing is different because Kenny Pickett is not on the roster.
That is a really good point. We would probably be seeing Kenny Pickett this week, I think. Right?
Kenny
like
Pickett
if he was on the roster.
Started week 1.
Ooh, I don't think so. Wait, wasn't Flacco named the starter when Pickett was on the roster?
Kenny Pickett was getting all the first team reps before the hamstring injury.
You're saying pre-hamstring. Yeah. I mean, that's what I said in May or June. I thought that was a reality for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird though. Like, if Pickett was on the roster right now, you just watch those 2 back-to-back games from Flacco. You are pulling the plug. I think you're right. Whew, that's a crazy thing to think about. I didn't even think about that. Well, enough of the hypotheticals. We're talking about all of these quarterback things as if the Browns don't have a real shot to win against the Detroit Lions this Sunday. Let's talk Lions matchup up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Refine your golf swing effortlessly right from the comfort of your home with Pure AV. There's no tee time required. Pure AV's full swing golf simulators capture your every move with precision, while realistic graphics and immersive environments bring the thrill of the greens indoors. Perfect for practice, play with friends, or hosting upscale events. Discover the flawless blend of sport and luxury. Book your consultation today at pureavcorp.com.
Welcome back, Big Play Sports Network. This is Honor the Land. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and we have to break down this Detroit Lions team that looks incredible outside of Week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. Look, this Lions offense is very good. I think the defense in the front seven can play with anybody, but I think there's some weaknesses within the DBs. We'll talk about the statistics behind this stuff in a second here. But Zay, immediate thoughts on this Detroit Lions team that has looked really good these past 2 weeks, but put up a dud in Week 1 against a really good team in Green Bay.
I'm a little nervous for our nickels and our third corners this week. Not to say that I don't have confidence in us, but knowing how aggressive Dan Gilbert, jeez Louise, it's because I'm downtown.
Dan Gilbert.
Knowing how aggressive Dan Campbell is with this offense, the fourth downs that they're going to be approaching, just knowing that they're not going to be afraid to attack weaknesses. This is going to be one of those things where they're going to test multiple different things, and whoever is getting picked on the most throughout the day is going to be the guy that they continue to go to. And unfortunately, we're going to have to pick our poison when you talk about this explosive offense. David Montgomery only had 12 carries for $150. He's running with a vengeance. I don't know if you saw the podcast clip where he's like,
oh yeah,
they asked him, he's like, are you going down if we don't have this time? He's like, bro, I got 12 carries. I'm punching that thing in no matter what. Knowing the mindset that these running backs and these offenses carrying, it's going to be scary, but it's not going to be scarier than what this defense is going to have to offer. And Jared Goff is a statue of his own back there. So if we can get some pressure on these guys and we can create some turnovers, man, eventually one of these weeks the offense is going to have to click, and no better time would it be able to click right now than on the road in Detroit. So I'm excited for the matchup. Just please don't, Cam, I need you to eat your Wheaties. I need you to get hydrated, and I need you to give me your best foot forward this week.
I agree. I think there's going to be opportunities for Cam Mitchell matched up one-on-one with Amon-Ra St. Brown, which honestly scares me. But I think in controlled situations, the Browns will probably wind up traveling Denzel Ward with him, regardless of where he goes, which is a good thing. If you want to take away your best receiver, put Denzel Ward on him. He's probably not going to make a lot of noise. Jameson Williams is the other one, though. Like that's a speedster. That's the guy who can beat you over the top. It's a little scary. What I'm really looking at is the test along the line of scrimmage. The Packers' offensive line was solid, right? They were beat up a little bit. Zach Tom was he played, and then he was hurt. I mean, the Bengals' offensive line was brutal Week 1, and the Ravens' offensive line has looked bad, to be honest with you. Like, this is the first time all year the Browns' defensive line is facing one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and that is what I'm watching the most, because continually, week after week, the Browns' defensive line has been a juggernaut. You can't block him on the inside. You can't block him on the outside. You're getting to a point where you're triple teaming Myles Garrett. Like, this defensive line has caused problems and allowed the defense to keep the team in the game Week 1 and Week 3. Now you're getting an offensive line that is really good, has one of the best players in the world on it. Obviously, they're making up some losses of their own this offseason, but definitely the best offensive line you've played so far. That's what I'm looking at for sure. On the other side of the ball, though, look, if there was ever a week for Joe Flacco to throw the football down the field, it's this week. It's this week. The Detroit Lions play the fourth most man-to-man in the NFL. I don't know if you saw the press conference talking about Terrion Arnold with no coverage or no help behind him and what that means for this defensive line. Like, they're going to try to stop Quinshon Judkins and this Browns offense. If they can do that, is one story. But assuming they try to do that, Joe Flacco is going to have so many one-on-one opportunities for Jerry Jeudy, so many for Cedric Tillman, David Njoku, Harold Fan Jr., whoever. He's got to throw the football down the field this week. This is the best week to do it.
not only does he have to throw the ball downfield this week, but you're going to have to get the ball out quickly as well. Aiden Hutchinson is playing phenomenal football, better than any, he's one of the top defensive linemen right now. Their defensive line ain't no joke either. They put a lot of pressure on the Ravens this past week. Wasn't it the Ravens, right? They played the Ravens last week. So we already know that their defensive line is going to be tough. You can't make this a one-dimensional game. You can't make this easy for their defense and for their defensive linemen to just pin their ears back and go get Joe Flacco. So Joe Flacco's going to have to be a lot more decisive with his passes. He seems like he's seeing ghosts a little bit. He's holding on to the ball a little bit longer. But in terms of this defense, the defensive line, I think one of the edges where we could tip our hat is how deep that they are. So when Myles Garrett does get tired out, or when Malik Collins does get tired out, that we're going to have a lot more guys and other types of looks that we can give this high-powered offensive line. So it's definitely going to be a trenches-type battle if you're an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. This is a type of game that you're going to live for because you're going to see a lot of action. Let's just hope that who's our starting lineman right now? That's the real question. So it's Jack Conklin's back, it looks like. Teller posted.
We'll see.
So
he was supposed to be back last week. Yeah.
But we're running thin, so they're gonna have to stay healthy, and we have to establish a run game, no matter how hard it looks in the first quarter.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And like you said, no matter how hard it looks in the first quarter, obviously Judkins ran the ball a bunch in the first half, but it wasn't super efficient. Like the two big chunk plays came in the fourth quarter. That's what happens when you do try to establish the run, especially with a bigger bruising guy like that. I don't know if you watched the full Ravens-Lions game, but Derrick Henry was running through them in the first half. Second half, he doesn't touch the ball as much, and then when he does, he's less efficient. Now, they were loading the box. They were doing everything they can to stop Derrick Henry because they knew they could get pressure on Lamar and force him to make throws that he either wasn't comfortable making or would have to do with defenders chasing him. Now, the Browns have to take a page out of that book. The issue is the defense has to be able to keep this game close and competitive in order for them to do that. And I truthfully am a little bit worried. Like, I think the Ravens offense presents different challenges, but I think this Lions offense presents as many, if not more, than the Ravens offense did, because they can keep your quarterback upright, or at least they have in the past. They have guys who can beat you one-on-one. They have running backs who are dynamic and can make people miss. This is, I think, the best offense that they're going to play as well, as crazy as that sounds. Best offensive line, best offense. I mean, maybe them or the Packers' best defensive line. This is a tall task for the Browns this week.
It feels like deja vu, except you're talking about the defense this week, when last week we were talking about this is going to be the best defense that we played, and we found a way to win. So maybe this is the recipe for success, is you saying that this is the toughest something throughout. But I'm not worried. The only thing that I'm worried about the defense is the confidence being lost after the offense doesn't perform. There's going to come a point where the rubber band's just going to break, and the offense or the defense is just going to look at the offense and be like, man, we can't even rely on these guys. They're not going to say it, but you're going to be able to feel it. You're going to be able to see it. And I'm hoping that it doesn't get to that point. I'm hoping that this defense can remain strong and it can hold that tension as long as it possibly can, because I keep telling, like, eventually we're going to get a week where it clicks. And once you get that week that clicks, you're going to be able to build off of that week and find out what exactly works, because right now nothing is really working on the offensive side of the ball. So let's hope that this is the week that they get the mojo going and Joe Flacco can find something, because we're going to get our opportunities. Jerry Jeudy's going to have a week where he's heavily targeted, you know what I mean? And where's Dylan Sampson at? That's what I want to know. Can we get some Dylan Sampson this week, make our life a little bit easier?
If there's anything that the Browns can take advantage of, it is the Lions' open field tackling. They swarm to the ball. They play really hard. They are, I'm not going to say they're bad tacklers, but they are susceptible to having people just make them miss. There's a lot of players on both sides I want to talk about, though. We're going to take a break here and come back up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Smart home automation has never looked so good. When you visit the Pure AV Design Center, you'll be immersed in the epitome of sophistication and state-of-the-art home automation technology. Flawless design, exquisite materials, unparalleled craftsmanship. You deserve nothing less than the pinnacle of perfection. Discover what you've been missing at Pure AV on Killian Road in Akron or online at pureavcorp.com.
Welcome back to Land on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and FanDuel is getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Ohio, 21 plus and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's talk honor the leg. We each have a leg for this game against the Detroit Lions. Zay, I believe your leg was the only one that hit last week. Harold Finn, I think I was
Both
on
of the ones that I called. You were scared of the over on the yards.
I was
that
scared,
win,
yeah.
And the 9.5 in the first quarter hit.
Yeah. So Judkins 9.5 first quarter was great. Pat was on a Jerry Jeudy touchdown. He literally dropped it. It was PI. And then I was on Harold Fannin Jr. something. I think it was 30 yards or 4 catches, and he had 3 for 25. So we're almost there. I do really like a couple players in this game, but I want to kick it to you, Zay. You can get things started for us.
I'm going with the money. I'm going with the superstar. I'm going with the best player on our team right now. Myles Garrett for a sack seems to be a lock every single week, and the fact that they only have it at minus 130 is a little crazy to me. It just feels like Myles Garrett's on one of these historic runs where, at least for the first half of the season, he's going to do historical things, and I believe he's 1.5 sacks away from tying Reggie White, or is that passing Reggie White as the youngest before 30 to have the most recorded sacks? So I'm sure that's on his mind. We know he likes to play for that type of stuff. So give me Myles Garrett for a sack.
I like that. I like Myles Garrett for a sack. I am going to get on the best pass catcher, even though he hasn't been the most productive pass catcher, in Jerry Jeudy. This Lions defense, again, I said, plays a ton of man, the 4th most in the NFL. Jerry Jeudy not only has the most targets against man, even though he's not been producing against it as much, but his target rate almost doubles against man coverage. The Detroit Lions are allowing the 2nd most wide receiver receptions as well. I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy, 40 yards as a leg. I think his line right now is at like 49.5. I like it straight too. But I'm adding Jerry Jeudy 40+ as our leg. So we got Myles Garrett sack, Jerry Jeudy 40+ yards. Pat, take us home.
I like the way you're thinking with Jerry Jeudy leg there, Max. I think it's going to be a passing one for me as well. The guy that we haven't said a lot of his name very often is Cedric Tillman. His passing line, his alt line for 40. I think that, like you said, there's going to be a lot of man-to-man. I think Jerry gets the underneath passes, but I think there's going to be one long pass to Cedric. I'm liking that play, honestly. I think we're going to be throwing the ball quite a bit, even if it is garbage time. I'm taking Cedric.
I like that. So Cedric Tillman, 40+, Jerry Jeudy, 40+. I mean, the Lions' run defense is good. They're going to stop up the run. They're going to have to throw the football. And then on the other side of the ball, you know what? If you're telling me I can put my money on the best player on the team, I'm going to do it every time. Myles Garrett to get a sack. As always, guys, not financial or professional advice, but we will be riding this. You can ride it with us. Let's talk a little more Detroit Lions up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. Zay, let's talk players to watch for this Detroit Lions game. We talked about it being a game in the trenches, but big plays are going to be made on both sides of the ball, down the field, I think. Who are you watching most specifically in this game on Sunday?
It's kind of too hard to just single out any single player. I feel like they have so many weapons, but knowing I'm a big storyline guy. There's one guy in particular, and there's also someone who is very familiar with the Cleveland Browns, and John Dorsey. Jameson Williamson is his guy, or Jameson Williams. Why did I say Williamson? Jameson Williams. I think Williams is gonna have one of those games where we gonna be looking up and he gonna be running down the sideline for a 50, 60-yard pass. Like, it just feels like it's one of those things, and that adds salt to the wound knowing that it's John Dorsey's guy. So I think Jameson Williams is gonna be a guy that they utilize heavily, especially knowing that our secondary, like you mentioned, if Denzel Ward is gonna go ahead and mirror Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson ain't no tough, easy cover either. So watching out for him, obviously. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be one of those guys you got to put a little bit extra emphasis on just off of the strength or the speed that he carries. We haven't had much of a speed test, I feel like, these first couple weeks.
100%. There has not been much of a speed test. And I think the big speed test, truly, Jamar Chase, in that world, like, you did not have Denzel Ward, you had Denzel Ward following him a lot. Obviously, Greg Newsome was able to handle the speed at times, which is great, and you believe in him against Jameson Williams just based off of that. My worry, again, comes with the chunk plays. I was going to say that I just want this game to be a field goal fest, like bend, don't break, that classic style of defense. Well, number one, I don't think that's going to happen. Number two, let's say 4th and 4 for the Lions inside the 20. They're just going to go for it. Like, it's not like they're just going to settle for a field goal. So the reality is that's not going to happen. I think the game is won on the defensive line. My thing, though, is the interior of this Lions defensive line, like offensive line, excuse me. You lose your captain, I believe, center, and Frank Ragnow this offseason. The weaknesses have been on the interior. I'm just looking at the Browns' defensive tackles. I think Mike Hall, again, is questionable. Who knows if he's going to play? It doesn't matter at this point because Malik Collins and Mason Graham are playing so well. Yep. I'm looking at the defensive tackles to make noise. Again, getting after Jared Goff and causing havoc there, but bottling up the running backs. Because if the Detroit Lions become a true drop-back pass team, they're not as good as the numbers say they are holistically. They're best when David Montgomery is going 12 for 100 plus. They're best when Jahmyr Gibbs is in space making people miss. If they can get behind the chains, the Browns can force them behind the chains. I really like where the Browns are at in this game. On the other side of the ball, I don't want to just like single out the quarterback and be that guy, but you got to throw the football down the field, Joe. Like, there's going to be one-on-one opportunities. Take your shots. Take your shots. This reminds me so much of the Denver Broncos game where you're going to get one-on-one opportunities. Last year, Jameis Winston was just hucking the ball blindly down the field. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But you know what? They scored 30-whatever points in that game with a worse defense. Give your guys shots this week. Give Cedric Tillman the ball down the field, Jerry Jeudy the ball down the field. Please, please, please. Isaiah Bond is a guy too. Just take your shots. Take the top off the defense this week.
And you know who that falls on, right? That falls on our head. You're going up at one of probably the most aggressive coach in the NFL. If you think being timid and if you think playing conservative is going to find you a win in this game, Kevin, I got another thing coming for you, buddy. It's not going to happen versus Detroit Lions team. So Kevin Stefanski is going to have to show that same type of energy that he had in the victory speech locker room, which was that was a different Kevin. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like he was putting on a show. It felt authentic and it felt real. That was the first time I felt like that watching one of his victory speeches. So if we can get that type of Kevin onto the field and let it translate, and him being aggressive, like, you can't come out, and if it's 4th and 3 and you're on their side of the field and it looks like momentum swinging their way, you're going to have to be aggressive. You might have to go for it. If you think settling for 3 when you could very easily go ahead and get you maybe another 4th down opportunity, I would be okay with not converting on some 4th downs this game, because that's what it's going to have to take. You're going to have to take those shots, and like you said, you're going to have to take those shots downfield. If Joe Flacco throws an interception, that's fine. As long as he has 2 touchdowns to go with it, we can manage with that.
Exactly. And that was the recipe for Browns competing with and beating good teams last year. Like, scoring points, being aggressive offensively, even if it meant taking a step back defensively, because you're able to throw the football downfield. Sorry, not beating good teams, because they won 3 games last year. But I'm 100% with you. It's the Chiefs of old, like when the Chiefs had Eric Bieniemy and were scoring 30 whatever points a game. The other offense got to a point where it was 4th and whatever, and you're like, well, the Chiefs are probably going to get the ball back and score a touchdown, and if they don't, they're just going to go for it on 4th down. Let's just try to score a touchdown. Like, the Browns have to be aggressive here on 4th down. That's the reality of it. Dan Campbell's not going to want to kick field goals. At times he probably will, but he's not going to want to kick field goals. He's going to want to go for it every chance that he gets. So if you're the Cleveland Browns, you have to be aggressive in your 3rd and longs, where instead of trying to just, convert or make the punt easier or the field goal easier, you're trying to set yourself up for a 4th down. Like, that's the mindset they can have. Offensively, again, it comes down to being aggressive, and they got to keep Joe Flacco upright, whether it's 6 guys in protection or what. They got it. Those edge rushers are going to cause problems. Aiden Hutchinson's going to cause problems.
Could end Joe Flacco's tender here.
Let's hope that does not happen, but I think that's the reality of it. Let's talk score predictions up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Who doesn't love having everything at their fingertips? With Pure AV's smart home automation, you can seamlessly manage your home's audio, video, lighting, security, and more, all with a simple touch. Create a sanctuary that embodies your unique style and personalized features that bring comfort to every moment. Sit back, relax, and let Pure AV bring convenience and control to your home. Visit us at pureavcorp.com today.
Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. We are going to wrap up here with our predictions for this game. Zay, you were optimistic last week and it worked. I was pessimistic last week and I was wrong, but it worked. I don't know if we're going to be in the same boat again. The Lions are 9.5 point favorites right now, so teetering on that double digits. What do you think happens in this game on Sunday?
There's something in the air right now, and if we're flashing back to 2023, one person that we relied heavily on was Dustin Hopkins. I think this is another week. It's going to come down to Andre Schmidt. Was it a fluke last week, or was it legit? Browns are going to pull this one out. They're going to find a way to get it done. 9.5 points doesn't matter. Myles Garrett going to be the youngest all-time leader in sacks. Joe Flacco's going to finally throw for 250, 60-plus yards and finally have a multi-touchdown game. Kevin Stefanski is going to quiet myself and all of the doubters at least for another week. And Andre Schmidt is going to kick another game-winning field goal when we were down by 3 points, down 2 points, 20-19. Book it.
Ooh, 20-19. I'm glad you put the 19 number. I'm glad you put the 19 number in there because I looked at Detroit Lions last season, did not score less than 20 points at home. Now, I don't know if you're in the weeds with the Jared Goff stuff on socials, but Jared Goff in a dome versus Jared Goff on the road or outside is a different thing. It's a different animal, right? They scored, I believe, 50 against the Bears this past or 2 weeks ago at home. They scored 50 twice at home last year. I'm terrified of this team at home. I'm just going to be honest and transparent. Like, this team scares me at home. It's a good team. They're going to score points. The question is, can the Browns keep up? Even though this Browns defense is exceptional, it's tough to believe they can replicate the performance they had last week or week one against an offense that's holistically better than everybody, but an offense that's, again, at home and in a controlled environment. I think the only things that play in the Browns' favor here are obviously the defense, and I think the defensive line. The Lions haven't really faced somebody as good as the Browns because week one when they played the Packers, Parsons was limited. He wasn't playing a ton. And honestly, the fact that the Browns like their one-on-one matchups. Like, I think they like Jerry Jeudy against these corners. They like Cedric Tillman against – they love David Njoku and Harold Fant Jr. against these safeties and some of these linebackers. Like, if the Browns throw the football, if they give receivers one-on-one opportunities, they're going to be in this game. Here's the issue. I don't know if they're going to do that. That is what really scares me.
I feel you, but I just can't imagine Joe Flacco's going to go out like that. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have Joe Flacco going out like a sorry bum written all over. If Joe Flacco's going to go out, he's got to at least give us one more good performance. So before he stinks it up one last time, I'm praying that this is the game where Joe Flacco finds some of that 2023 magic, and then hopefully we can continue that over. But hey, I mean, I guess there's going to be a silver lining and a little bit of greener grass, because once the Joe Flacco experiment ends, hey, we're going to see finally the one quarterback that Kevin Stefanski we know picked.
Yep. Yeah, we get to see Stefanski's guy. That is for sure. I think when it comes back to score predictions or outlook for this game, like, this is the best defense the Lions have played all year. Dan Campbell said it too. Like, this is the toughest test they're going to have all year. Or up until this point, excuse me. That's the reality of it. And I think the Browns defense makes an impact on the scoreboard because of that. I just don't know if the offense can do it. I don't. I think this is a game where the Browns defense, much like the Ravens game, to be honest with you, where it's extremely close in the first half. You know the Browns can hang around with a team of this caliber. But then when push comes to shove, when the Ravens finally break through with the skill they have on the offensive side of the ball, the offense is then forced on the Browns end to drop back and throw the ball a bunch. The offense is forced on the Browns end to abandon the run. I think it could get ugly, to be honest with you. I don't think the final score will be reflective of the discrepancy in talent between the teams, but I'm going to go Lions 24, Browns 13. 24-13.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Since, you're so afraid of the offense, you mentioned how you think that they like the matchups with Jerry Jeudy's against his corners and stuff like that. How do you go about making a decision on, like, if you have that much fear that the offense can't get it done? Isn't that a huge testament to Kevin Stefanski? Like, we shouldn't be this terrified when our head coach and our guy running the offense is supposed to be an offensive guru. Like, I just don't understand how we are okay with being terrified that our offense can't do it when we should be sitting here like, if anything, Kevin Stefanski is going to figure it out. Like, why don't we have that feeling? Isn't that something that the Stefanski people should be looking at? Like, that's not concerning to us?
Oh, it's extremely concerning. And I don't know if it's people holding out hope for Dillon Gabriel to come start or what. Like, if Dillon Gabriel started this week, I wouldn't even bat an eye. Like, I'd be okay with it. But, yes, it's concerning to look at a defense that's given up, what did they give up to the Ravens? Like 30 or 32 to give that up. The week before, gave up double digits to the Bears, 20 plus to the Bears. Like, your offense has to perform. And then looking at a defense that has given up those point totals to offenses that are probably a little better than you, but have the capabilities that you do on offense to throw the ball down the field, to keep the quarterback upright, all that good stuff, especially the Bears and Ravens offensive lines.
I was just going to mention the Bears. I'm so glad. Just think about what the Bears, how they first came out, and look at the adjustments that they made. Caleb Williams went night and day difference. They were wondering if it's not going to work, and Ben Johnson came out and flipped the script. Like, why can't Kevin Stefanski do that? That's my question. If anyone can answer that.
I think there's there's no answer, to be honest with you. I think it comes down to a lot of things. I think it's number one, Stefanski, number two, quarterback play, number three, the tackles. Like, you watched last week, Flacco was running for his life. And when he's running for his life, he can't make the plays that he once could. He's running for his life. Like, it's hard to operate an offense when you got guys like against backup tackles. And getting Jack Conklin back will be huge. Cornelius Lucas, who knows how that will go. I don't know. It's hard to rationalize continuing the offense with what it is right now. Whether it's the quarterback, the coach, the tackles, the play call, whoever it is. It's hard to rationalize continuing moving forward. But all eyes will be on that offense against the defense they can take advantage of on Sunday. Any final words before we sign off, Zay?
Get your dog bones ready, because we're going hunting for some kitty cats. Here we go, Rowdies. Here we go. Ooh, ooh,
ooh. We appreciate you guys watching and listening. We will see you next time on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.
Create it, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Refine your golf swing effortlessly right from the comfort of your home with Pure AV. There's no tee time required. Pure AV's full swing golf simulators capture your every move with precision, while realistic graphics and immersive environments bring the thrill of the greens indoors. Perfect for practice, play with friends, or hosting upscale events. Discover the flawless blend of sport and luxury. Book your consultation today at Pure